everybody, welcome into Pro Football Ireland, a very special podcast this week. We are here, myself, Mark Hogan, Sans, Jason Hayes, tell me him in a second, in front. What? Croke Park is behind us. We're here at the Croke Park Hotel in Dublin ahead of the historic NFL Dublin game this weekend. Mark Hogan, very good to see you. How are you doing?
The podcast we always wanted to do. That's kind of a lie. We said the podcast was the announcement podcast at the Super Bowl, but this is the one. This is the week. This is it. All of ahead of us. We're going to talk about the buzz that's going on. Of course, we missed Jason Hayes. It was not because of too many pints last night. Jason isn't up with us quite yet.
He lives too far away. I actually feel bad for him because I know he wants to be on this. So Jason, we're thinking of you. And
we had the opportunity to record, of course, in front of Croke Park here. And how could you pass it up, the historic week that it is?
Big thanks to everybody in the Croke Park Hotel. We're going to talk about them after we talk about the game, but appreciate them letting us do this. Before we do that, Mark, a big weekend with SBK. They've got a big offer on anytime touchdown scores in the game. I believe it's on the screen right now, but all the information is in the link in the bio on this podcast. Obviously 18 plus, please be gamble aware.
And if you want proof that they offer great odds, someone texted me the other day saying a rival betting company offered a boosted price to evens for a Saquon Barkley touchdown. It was already being offered 10 to 11 on SBK. There was no limit on it. Now, it didn't come off, so maybe you're lucky or whatever. But the price is there, that they genuinely do have excellent prices if gambling is your thing. And if it's not, Michael,
it's all good. And if it is your thing, bet €10, get €50 in free bets. All the T's and C's are in the bio. Obviously here on the cusp of history this weekend, the NFL Dublin game, Mark. Sunday, 2:30, starts at 1:30 in Virgin Media 1. Steelers against the Vikings behind us.
The what? Steelers, on Virgin Media 1 in Croke Park here. The excitement is through the roof, clearly.
I can't wait. It's actually a bit surreal. I came down here. This is going out Wednesday night, our usual night to go out live, but I came down here Tuesday night where obviously we had a bit of crack last night around the city, doing a few things. And it's a bit surreal coming down here and seeing the crack. I know this weekend means so much to so many people, but when you actually see what it means to fans and you see fans talking, we were at the store this morning. We got some merch, dropped about $1,000 this morning on merch. We got,
and shout out that store again. This is going out on Wednesday. I would definitely get down there early. It's popular, Michael.
10 a.m. it opens in Stephen's Green, and obviously the Steelers Pro Shop as well. Check that out. They got Aaron Rodgers jerseys dropping in last night, and for people asking, they have women's sizes as well for jerseys for select teams in the
and
NFL
every
stuff.
Team is represented. I mean, I say this knowing that we had a very popular video on both Instagram and TikTok. So if you haven't, go check it out because I've kind of done a rundown of everything. But even though that video I thought did everything,
it pops.
Even though I thought it did everything, I suppose there's so much going on that maybe you don't notice what's going on in the background. I noticed football jerseys. Those are the NFL that look like soccer jerseys.
And Gaelic football jerseys?
They have Gaelic football jerseys.
I think they're missing the trick not having Gaelic tops. Maybe that could be for next year.
The trick that was missed was there's a top. It's a kid's top. And it says Dublin game. It's like you always see my first intergeneric thing here for a child. I was like, call it my first Dublin game and give it to me in an adult size and I will be wearing that all over. But yeah, no, do not. And what was genuinely impressive, I don't think we're supposed to talk at length about this, but that store.
Go for it.
I go in yesterday and now I'm lucky. I was first in. They've everything. It looks amazing. It still does look amazing. The effort that they've gone to, Michael, we've gone to Super Bowls and we've all spent time in that shop being like, it's not quite perfect. Yeah. You know, we're looking being like, oh, it's not quite perfect. No knock on them. I'm just trying to juice up how good that shop was.
Really cool.
And it's not done in the generic diddly-idly, let's put a shamrock here and a violin over there.
It's done proper.
It's genuine. Like, I actually turned to my partner and said, look, I'm actually wearing the t-shirt. I won't turn around now, but there's a really cool Steelers t-shirt on the back, Michael. You can see they kind of have like
turn it around for everyone watching.
They have some and it has some Irish designs on it, right? And one of the things that I'll say is they didn't go for a 4-leaf clover, which if we put that up on our Instagram or we wouldn't. We've seen other people try to promote the game here. Non-Irish outlets try to promote the game and they'll always use the 4-leaf clover and people push back and say no, the 4-leaf clover is Irish America, but a shamrock represents us an awful lot better. They're using shamrocks in this and I was like, do you know what? They did their homework.
Let's go into the game. Check out both those stores, Steelers Pro Shop and the NFL store, and God help my credit card. Obviously, just before we do that, we have a big event on Friday night. It's a big week,
Michael. It's great. Got to have all the...
We do. We're in the Radisson Blue on Friday night. We've got apparently 2 former Vikings players joining us. More on that in the next couple of days.
You say apparently. We have.
We've got Brett Kiesel joining us, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler, etc. as well. Greg Rosenthal, Arif Hassan, Neil Reynolds, of course. And big thanks, and I want to publicly thank Neil. I had the chance to write in the game program, so I know he produces this, so big thanks to him. Buy it on Sunday. Buy me an extra copy, folks, if you can. Post it to my house. I can't wait to see it. I'm really excited. Let's talk about Sunday. I think before we do that, I think it's important to say, just firstly, Mark, we talked about this a bit on the, quote unquote, advertise this Irish Steelers podcast last night. But when you have all these games for the last nearly 20 odd, whatever years, go from London across the world, and you actually have a team that is Irish American, care about the island. The late Dan Rooney, obviously, US ambassador to Ireland, no longer with us. He's deaf. I think Roger Goodell said it in an incredible documentary, which is going to drop at the end of this week on the Steelers website. Check it out. Roger Goodell talks about how he knows that Dan will be looking down, smiling on Sunday. This is not the copy of the college game. Wouldn't happen without the college game. It really is much more than the game. This is a real moment for this family at the weekend.
Yeah, it's funny. I was doing something for the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
Yeah, woo. Shout out to Tatum that I did. It was really sweet. And their team is so excited to come over. And I suppose we're going to get through all this stuff, because even as you gloss over the fact that you're in the program, congratulations, like, that is
class.
huge.
And big thanks to Neil as well. It's amazing.
But it's all these, like, we're all as fans, and we can call it professionally, even though it's just passion project. You're getting to do these things or whatever, and it's like we're all having these little moments this week. So I was talking to the Minnesota Vikings, and she was like, hey, so JJ McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell, these are Irish sounding names, right? Like, and it's like, yeah, we used to be able to, we used to just want to ask these people, do you have any Irish blood in you? And they used to talk about pride and, do you know what, I'm sure up there somewhere, I don't know, I need to go on to ancestry.ie. If you ask that of the Rooneys, they always knew. They always knew. And like, we've told this story so many ways, and that's not what this podcast is about. It's not going to be about just their pride. And we've talked about that, but it's like, what are they doing this week? On Thursday,
heading up tomorrow,
they're going up.
Yeah.
Art Rooney is in the country. Dan, his son, who's obviously been fantastic to us, they're all going up. Like, that's what they're interested in. When all this is going on, and when people are saying, I want to get into Ireland as a whole, and go to Clarny and those are fantastic places to be, and they are, and that's why it's so incredible that they're like, even though there's all these fantastic places to be, we have this historic week for our family coming here. We're going to Newry.
I'm going to Newry and Belfast tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. Obviously, a lot of content happening throughout the next few days. Loads of stuff going on, which we'll talk about maybe towards the end. Let's talk about this game very quickly. Steelers obviously started the season off with a win. Bad defeat in week 2 against the Seahawks. Win on the road. Grinding win against the Patriots. We know what the Vikings done. They then played the Bears. They demolished them. And Bears demolished them, didn't they? They demolished JJ McCarthy, my bad. Sorry, folks, it's been a long week. And last week, what they done to a Bengals team that were basically gone after the first quarter. This has the makings of a game where it's very, very difficult to call. It's hard to see who's going to get out on top, but I think certainly, for like any game, especially when you've got a bipartisan crowd, we don't know how many fans are going to be here from each team. Whoever's going to win this game needs to get out, needs to make their case really, really early, set the scene and go for it, because if the Steelers defense are going to play like they did on Sunday, grand, but they got to play like that from the first minute of this game to get anything.
The most non-football thing I'll get out of the way early. I really hope this game is decided by an Irish crowd that goes absolutely wild for the Pittsburgh Steelers from before they take the field right through to the final snap. Like, I really hope that is a massive factor in the game. And if it's not, things that you're talking about there, like the Vikings defense, if I can start there, I actually don't know where we'll start. So where do you want to do, Pittsburgh or?
Well, just on the non-football thing, 1 wee second, I'll say this. I hope the RTM band are playing around the vein whenever someone's singing it, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't think it will happen, but I think it should happen in Croke Park. So I will leave that there. Let's start with the Steelers.
Okay. The Steelers, one of the first things that I think about is like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is the storyline, right? And I'm kind of thinking about what they asked me for the Minnesota Vikings. And I know that we also, and thank you for listening in, we definitely have some new listeners. I've already been told, where can I listen? Pro Football Ireland, I'll be checking you guys out. So yeah, however long, 15 minutes in, thank you for listening and stay with us as we cover it throughout the year. Aaron Rodgers is a superstar level quarterback, guaranteed Hall of Famer, that has ended up with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Aaron Rodgers played in London in another international fixture last year against the Minnesota Vikings. That result was, it was billed the game, Michael, the same way, Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets, how can he elevate them?
Yeah.
So when you look at Aaron Rodgers now, he had that loss last year, but what's changed? I think some things have changed, some things have not changed, and the things that haven't changed is that Minnesota Vikings defense is ferocious. Talk about that in a minute. Aaron Rodgers went to that game and he had a run. He went to an offense that was supposedly going to work better for him ultimately he didn't like that offense. I think Arthur Smith is it's a more friendly offense for him. Okay, like I genuinely believe Arthur Smith, it's a more traditional offense with the running game, and he has Najee Harris.
But they've struggled. So Najee Harris went to LA, so he's lost.
Oh,
Najee
sorry,
Harris.
sorry.
He's got Jalen Moore, Caleb Johnson as well. They've struggled a bit on the run.
Right,
over the last week, 40 maximum yards per running back.
So this is what and Caleb Johnson, obviously a second round pick that came into the league with high expectations. Hasn't worked out yet, but Marion Hampton, who was drafted even higher up, and Ashton Genty, they showed in week 3 that they can burst out. So it could be a burst out game coming. But Jaylen Warren, I should say, excuse me, that Najee Harris thing is still, even though he's now injured.
It's a big firework in your head right now.
I know. It's for some reason those two running backs has been linked that I see them as the same.
Well, they're missing him. They're missing him so far this season. I mean, that's a talking point.
But this is the thing, when you let him go, so it's like when I'm saying, and I'm going back to last year's game just because I think that there is such similarities between the Jets playing the Vikings and this Steelers playing again with Aaron Rodgers. Like, he has to trade off between Breece Hall to Jaylen Warren. Let's call that a wash. So then the other thing you look at is he also had Garrett Wilson, who is again a superstar. Now he does something different to DK Metcalf, but if you want to say like for like, they add such an intangible to the field, like they add that quote unquote X factor. I think we have to call that a wash. I will give that Aaron Rodgers, I think, believes in this offense a little bit more, and I have points that I'll actually make in that. But I think that when we've been watching Aaron Rodgers in his absolute prime in Green Bay, it was always Davante Adams and Randall Cobb or
always that
Jordan
tight
Nelson.
end that you always add in.
And it was always, he always needed a duo to go with his running back. In Calvin Austin breaking out, that is the 2 receivers plus one running back with a competent offense that Aaron Rodgers needs.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're going to see more success this year. And do we get the week 1 when they were very competent against the Jets? The week 2 where they started to fail? The week 3 first half where they go out to a 14-0 lead against New England until ultimately they caught open as a 14-14 tie until they won 21-14. So I do think it is a better offense, and that is the answer to the question. Has anything changed? Yes, I think it has.
It definitely has. And look, I'll talk about the defense and then we'll get our game picks and take a wee break here. But certainly, just very quickly on the offense, agree with what you're saying about Calvin Austin. He's in a contract year. The Steelers, if you don't know it, folks, are notorious for the minute that a football is thrown or kicked in Chris Boswell's situation, they don't negotiate during the season. So he is literally playing for his career in Pittsburgh so far. And so far through 3 weeks, he's doing a really good job. Obviously, a guy that's been over here a number of times, along with another guy in that offense that we should really mention, Pat Freiermuth. Guys that Rodgers can rely on. And
Do you know what, though, Michael? I'll jump in there. And it's such a point because I wanted to make it one source of last year that is also is as point of frustration. Like, if Aaron Rodgers gets frustrated. So Pat Freiermuth had 3 catches in week 1, in week 2. Last week he had 3 targets. He only had 1 catch.
Yeah.
There was visible frustration, and that was the one thing that we saw. Plenty of frustration with the New York Jets offense and Aaron Rodgers, but that was the one thing that was like, Pat Freiermuth, a great player, he needs to get on the same page, and then that offense clicks to another. We know he's a fantastic, but he's not been on the same page with Aaron Rodgers.
The big one for me, Aaron Rodgers, is really how mobile he's been for 3 weeks. He struggled against the Seahawks because of the pressure they were putting on him. I thought he would struggle a lot more than he did in New England last week. He done really well. The big question this week is how exactly are they going to take to it? The field, we'll talk about later on, is very enclosed in. It's going to be a different situation to what they're used to. He's playing a number of international games, as we said, so we'll see the crack. On the defense very quickly, when you have guys like TJ Watt, and when you've guys like Jalen Ramsey, you expect greatness at any point. It doesn't matter how you've got on the week before, etc., etc., etc. Cam Hayward had a quiet enough start to the season. There was, the talk about the holdout, but I seen him training at Latrobe whenever I was over during the summer. There was no holdout from him in terms of his setup or his warm up. Had a quiet start to week 1. Got back in a bit week 2 and really had a good week last week. Jack Sawyer impressed a lot. Ohio State national champion on the defense as well. And just finally to add on Pittsburgh as well, we talked about it on the podcast. I keep calling him a freak. Chris Boswell is a freak, and it'll be interesting to see how kickers take to this field, because we know rugby players find it different when they go to a GES stadium in terms of how the hill is coming up. I know you talked about a pitch being laid flat.
We can talk about it
because he will. I feel like Boswell with that Vikings defense will be relied upon a lot on Sunday.
It's something that we can repeat. Pittsburgh Steelers Ireland podcast you and I did.
Listen now, presented by Aer Lingus.
And I'm going to repeat a point that this is a stadium that their minds are going to be blown by. First of all, again, I'm going to repeat the nugget that I heard. I was not aware that there's kind of a slope on Croke Park's field normally. They kind of have it sloped, I think, up like a hill that
For all the Kildare boys.
comes up to the middle of the field. I didn't know that it's to help the bounce at the ball or something. They've had to completely level it. The NFL has requested that it's completely level because that's how an NFL field is. So in terms of rugby players struggling, maybe the NFL players, because the rugby, I presume, are used to a flat field. I don't know, to be perfect.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. Stands in the stadium.
So then the other thing then is the hill is going to look wild. In what NFL city do you have this open air field that you can look back over and see a train is passing by when you look to the corners? It's going to be different. It's like, I wonder, will they be, I don't know, their eyes caught away when they see it.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get you to come in a wee bit. Come in a wee bit beside me. There we go. Just trying to get you in a wee bit. Right, let's stop with the Vikings. We know.
I thought I was being told I didn't know the hand motion under the camera here for come closer. I thought it was stop the point. You're going overboard. This isn't what we need. We're
going to get game picks in the wee second. Let's talk with the Vikings first off. Obviously, Kevin O'Connell, proud Irishman, never been here yet, but he's a proud Irishman. Great interview with him whenever the game was announced. I know he spoke to Henry that day and had a bit of crack. That seems like 5 minutes ago. JJ McCarthy not playing. It's Carson Wentz under centre, a guy that's been a journeyman quarterback, a Super Bowl champion. He would add if he was standing here right now beside us. We know what they've got offensively when it comes to Adam Thielen and to Justin Jefferson. They run the ball very well as well, but that defense, and as massively, you said, is standing.
Hold on, you didn't even mention Jordan Addison is going to be back.
Jordan Addison is back. He's on my fantasy bench, I believe.
Oh my God, look at you, because this is the thing, and this is why the Minnesota Vikings are frightening. JJ McCarthy goes out injured, but he's only played a couple of games. We expect him to have a higher ceiling than Carson Wentz, but we don't know what that ceiling is. We feel like we know Carson Wentz's ceiling, so because he's, become a journeyman now, but there's nothing wrong with his ceiling, especially we've seen if Sam Darnold, we thought we knew Sam Darnold's ceiling before he was with the Minnesota Vikings. Look at how that worked out last year. I would not write off Carson Wentz. So I don't think that just because we have a week one starter, we often think that the backup then, as a result, is a downgrade. We haven't talked about. I don't think
Wentz is playing. Wentz wants to show everybody what he can do.
It's a downgrade on what? On JJ McCarthy's college tape, because I don't mean that as a slight against
national champion.
I don't mean that as a slight against him, but it's like we haven't seen it in the NFL yet. So it's like we've only seen as much in the NFL from him as Carson Wentz. So like I don't think it's a knock to be down to Carson Wentz. I think it's a 1A, 1B that maybe you wouldn't love on a different team, but I don't have a problem with it.
Let's talk. Let's find out from Jim Harbaugh his thoughts on that Michigan team and JJ McCarthy, and we'll come back. Obviously, if you Google Michigan and that team, you'll find some interesting answers. We will move on steadily from that. How impressed have you been with that defense? Because they can go up against Rodgers big time on Sunday.
But I will give a shout out. Jordan Mason, the running back for Minnesota as well, is going to be like all over there. So they're a genuinely explosive offense. And we talk about, if you're new listening to this, we hope for your sake it's an absolute barn burner. Scores everywhere. It's going to be really high scoring. I think Minnesota's defense will certainly have a word about that, because last week they were absolutely outrageous. They're actually looking in to see if Isaiah Rodgers had the greatest individual performance of all time in terms of PFF grading. PFF, Pro Football Focus, tracks in terms of like they can give a ranking basically out of 100, and they think that like he's broken the system to a point that only JJ Watt has broken the system in the past. So Isaiah, they're coming in with this super hot defense that we know going back to last year under Brian Flores is like they were all over the field. They brought a pressure rate. So thanks to Arif Hassan, who will be our guest on
Friday night, link in bio.
I love his Norse Code podcast, which is super geeky and like really like if you're into the numbers or whatever, does an amazing job. So he said that between himself and Sam Monson, Irishman Sam Monson basically came up with this metric that if you hit between a 38 and 40% pressure rate, like it makes the game very difficult to win. If it's above 40%, like you cannot win. Basically, Sam did that. So Arif kind of like just as not quickly as he could, but kind of did a soft analysis of that and found that it's absolutely true. The pressure rate, and this is in terms of like if you're new, the pressure the defense gets on the opposing quarterback, it was at 58%, which means like that is absurdity. Like that is you come out injured. They were not. The Cincinnati Bengals, who were beaten, and that's the team I'm talking about, they did not invest in their O-line in a way that it's protected.
They haven't invested in anyone.
This game, well, they're wide receivers and quarterbacks. Yeah, that's the way their offense is built differently from Pittsburgh's. So Pittsburgh, I don't think is a like for like. You can say, oh, so they did that, they'll do it again. Of course, if they get that pressure rate, it's going to be absolutely what? They're a fantastic defense on the back end. But I don't think it just translates, oh, that happened then, it'll happen here again.
Do you think we'll see a game here next year? I think we will.
Oh, wow, that was a hard pivot. I'd hope so. Michael,
City's too on fire, in a good way. It's pumping.
Our necks will be burnt, so that will tell you as much because it's genuine. It looks amazing.
I meant the atmosphere, but yeah, it is warm as well.
But I know you mean the atmosphere. Walking around, and that's why I bring up the weather. I think that as the NFL big bosses land in, Roger Goodell will be here at some point. When they see what our city, our country can do for them, I did a pre-record for Spin 103 for anyone that listens to that channel. It'll be out on Friday, and they asked me, okay, what's the NFL coming to Dublin like? And I said, guys, it's not NFL Dublin. It's NFL Ireland, really, what's going on here. Like, it is all over. I think they will be so impressed. But, Michael, for the exact same reason, I'm only focusing on what we have right now. Because if we look forward to next year, I think we're missing the point. We have to enjoy what we have.
Commissioners event on Saturday in Whelan's. Maybe see you there. UTV, I'm on Friday. You're on Spin. There's BBC Sport going, iPlayer, full 10 yards. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, in a good way. Right.
In the best way. It's what we've all dreamed of.
Game picks presented by SBK. Just putting them in there for that. Check the link in the bio. Look, all I'm going to say is this: the Steelers have to win this game for the Rooney family, for their legacy on this island. 24-21 Pittsburgh. Stout game. Rodgers, 2 passing touchdowns, 210 yards, and a little rushing touchdown with 2 minutes to go to win it.
I think I said on the Steelers Ireland podcast this. You glanced at me yesterday. I was like, I'm not saying something negative. I'm gonna flip my prediction.
Oh, you are.
No, I knew I was.
You done that. You went in the Steelers podcast. Now you're saying this.
No, but on the Steelers podcast, I view across the table about to jump over if I don't pick the Steelers on it. I do think it'll be. I'm really hopeful for the exact same reasons. I really hope that the Steelers crowd shows up and I hope that the history, and I hope that Aaron Rodgers is there afterwards saying exactly what Coach Dungy said back in the day. Oh, I knew I had to bring this win back for the Rooney family.
Coach Carr.
Coach Carr.
Class. I'm glad I got him mortified there. Coach Carr, who will not be here, will be on CBS. You might be on CBS.
But you know, in terms of like, I hope, and I do believe, like, they've been asked through social media out the wazoo now. They're well aware of this game, which I hope has filtered through that they really want to do it for the Rooney family, and there is loyalty. A team like Pittsburgh, one of those blue blood teams, is a loyal team.
Yeah.
So I really hope they get it done. But I think what I look at is, as I project forward into the season, I think Pittsburgh's route into the playoffs will most likely be through like a really gritty wildcard route, whereas I think Minnesota has a level that they can elevate to. So I think just in that sense, I think Minnesota, off the back of the confidence they're coming off last week, it's just 24-21 I think will be. It's just that defense is scary, Michael.
Wow. Okay. Look, I'm going to say one more thing because we can stay for 2 hours talking about this. If you're going on Sunday, if you're watching the game on TV, enjoy the game, enjoy the moment. I did not think we would see this day, so enjoy it. We'll have a lot more to come on social media in regards to it. We're going to be back after this very quick break to talk about some other games coming up in the Week 4 window. Welcome back into Pro Football Ireland special Week 4 podcast opposite Croke Park Stadium in the iconic Croke Park Hotel. Michael McQuaid, Mark Hogan. Just to remind people, if you go to the NFL store in the city centre, you've got these bad boys.
Oh,
these bad boys, which you're going to wear on your head for the rest of the podcast.
I wish I could. The most DMs we've gotten probably about anything, because people weren't necessarily DMing saying, are we getting a game?
And they haven't got the year on it, so you can like just have it every year. So you're gone. If there's another game.
Those balls are really cool to have. I know, like, I saw one guy, Dylan, travel down from Louth yesterday to get a ball.
Dylan Farrell,
yeah, great guy.
Nice guy. Look at him getting a shout out in this podcast. We're here Week 4. Obviously, we talked about the Steelers and Vikings, and just to reiterate to people, we're down here at the Croke Park Hotel. Check it out over the weekend. Big thanks to them. They've got Piemonte Brothers coming in, the sandwich company from Pittsburgh, Taste of Pittsburgh, coming in later on in the week. There's various different activations bars. Check out nfl.com/shopping for tickets and for more information. But a massive big thanks to everybody involved here at the Croke Park Hotel. As Ireland's NFL podcast, it really means an awful lot to come in here and do this. And it's not just a Dublin game, Mark. There is an absolute plethora of games this weekend. We are presented obviously by SBK. Do check out the link in the bio if you're going to put a bet on. Use SBK 18+. Please gamble aware. A reminder for people, it's sportsbook only. No roulette, no casino. That's why it makes sense to us. Mark, where do we start here? The amount of games this weekend is phenomenal. I know there might be a bar or two showing Sunday Night Football. Micah Parsons going back to the Cowboys. I know we're not going to talk about that at length, but if you had said a month ago,
Yeah.
that he was going back there.
Yeah.
Like, that is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Something tells me, I know they struggled a bit last week against
Yeah.
the Browns. Something tells me he's going to have an absolute lightning game against Dallas.
Oh, massive. No, massive. Yeah, and we're not, I suppose we're going to talk about our two games are going to be what, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Give me a guess of how many sacks you think he's going to have.
Sorry.
I'm going to say 6 on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I think a monster game would be a 3-sack performance. I think it's definitely there. That Dallas offense is clearly struggling.
I think he's going to have.
And CeeDee Lamb is going to miss it.
Apparently at the time of recording, it's all up in the air. But can't believe
oh my god, what a sucker punch! Like, oh my god,
I'm going to be very interested to see the reaction the Cowboys fans give him, and that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, it'd be brutal. Sure.
Well, it's not his fault.
When he wanted a new contract, like this is the whole thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Look after number one. Don't get me wrong, but like,
I don't know.
Leave. No, well, I'm too loyal for that. I'm too loyal.
I'm so loyal, man. Right? Okay, I don't know why. Let's move on. Okay, so Chiefs Ravens is in the late window. I believe all these games are in Sky Sports NFL. I believe Chiefs Ravens is on Channel 5 if you're in Northern Ireland as well. So enjoy that, folks. If you get a chance to watch it, we'll hopefully be watching it from somewhere. Why is the Ryder Cup on at the same time as this?
Oh, here it sets up something else.
I woke up on.
Give me Scott Hansen Red Zone Octobox, but the Ryder Cup down the bottom corner.
I woke up Monday morning and I watched back Sunday Night Football. Obviously, the Giants had a bit of news yesterday about Jackson Dart, but something that people haven't picked up on. And Michael, if he wasn't so busy, and we are going to talk about this game, don't worry, but this is important. I don't know if you've seen this. Younghoe Koo has went to the Giants. Graham Gano is injured. And I wonder, does that provide Jude McAtanney with an opportunity to start this weekend? That's something to look at over the next few days. Wow. Check it out, because Younghoe Koo is on the practice squad. Who will they elevate? And I will say this and say no more as somebody that stood and watched Jimmy Gillen and him for 2.5 hours in August. Lovely lads. Great
point,
lads.
though, because even if they were to elevate...
They've warmed him up. They've given him that chance to grow, you know what I mean?
And he's obviously kicked in them before. Imagine that. Imagine another Irishman playing in the NFL.
At the same weekend as this.
Oh, wow.
So that's one thing. In terms of that game, though, if we look at the Chiefs firstly, the biggest takeaway for me, Mark, was just how much they relied on Harrison Butker, because they couldn't get the ball down the field. You can take the element of, and the whole clickbait element of, Travis Kelce falling out with Andy Reid. It happened. They did not look happy with each other. But more so, it was Mahomes not looking confident in the pocket. Second and third down situations, especially in the first half of the game, where I felt bad if you had him in fantasy. There was nothing going on. He looked under pressure. He did not look happy. He did not look confident. And that Chiefs offense, I understand they won the game and they got a touchdown towards the end, but going into the third, fourth quarter, they were not where we expect this team to be. And they're about to, and we'll talk about them in a minute, but they're about to welcome in a team that, yes, have lost some games, but they're putting up 40 bags in teams. That's the interesting point for me.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're struggling against the Giants, who you last week ranked as the third poorest team in the NFL.
Well,
not in a ranking sense, but in the topic that we were talking about, it's like, yeah, it's a struggle. They still won, and that's why they've been doing this the last number of years. They're still going to Super Bowls off the back of really poor performance and then switching on because they, like Jason pointed out, they get Rashee Rice back later on, and that is not me trying to make an excuse. It is just what they've done. Like, it was week 11 we saw them in Frankfurt when 2 years ago that Rashee Rice had a breakout game, and from then on they went on to win a Super Bowl. And it's like, we've just been through this storyline enough times that, don't get me wrong, I just can't explain it.
But the storyline takes a new chapter this weekend because one of these teams is going to go 1-3 on Sunday night, provided there isn't a tie. Yeah, that's the reality of it. And that's a lot. That's a lot.
And that's where it's like you build it up. Oh, there's a team coming in who's able to put up massive points. For me, not that all is not well. All is not well at a very, I suppose, treetop level for the Baltimore Ravens when they've obviously lost a couple of games. When you watch them the other day, bad loss against the Detroit Lions, there's signs of where they need to improve the offense. It's not the sky is completely falling, but like, and I actually did not watch the Kansas City Chiefs New York Giants game, and I tell you why, we were so busy that's why I was like, I haven't actually seen the game.
I have a system now. My system is YouTube, go to the NFL channel, hit videos, close it over, have it ready to go in the morning. I wear contact lenses, take them out, phone's in airplane mode, alarms at 6 a.m. I squint. I know what the highlights thumbnail looks like now, and I hit the button and I go full screen. 24 minutes of highlights on Monday Night Football between the Lions and Ravens.
I
see everything.
That way.
Everything. And I tell you, I guess for me, the last thing I'll take from the Chiefs is, while they relied on Butker a lot, he's definitely peaked in his career. And I'm going to say no more than that. That's definitely something to look out for. And I think, whether we like it or not, if they do drop to 1-3 on Sunday, a conversation will be had about various factors, including Travis Kelce and his future in the league.
And
I think this is the last year for him.
and I think, like, look at the storyline with Travis Kelce so far this year. It looks like he's not dealing with the breakup between himself and football well. I think he's well aware that it's his last year. Like, he bumps into his own player. These things happen, and he's really hard on himself. I'm after knocking my guy out of the game. Like, yeah, I think he's taking it tough. So maybe that is, translating into just a lack of confidence with himself on the field because things aren't going the storybook ending that he potentially wants. When you look to the Baltimore Ravens then, and when I'm alluding to saying, all is not complete, what I saw, which I did watch back the Monday night game, is that
what a game.
But this is it. But I feel like we're gone back to partially here. We're gone back to if Lamar had a wide receiver, because it's like it's all on Lamar again, and
you can't rely on Mark Andrews. We've seen that last season at the end of the season. He does not look the same man. If you get my drift, I know he had a decent game Monday night, but he doesn't look. He looks a wee bit like ruffled after what happened.
He was part of almost the last generation of it 3 years ago,
and he had 7 months to sit on that as well this year, and think to himself, I cost this team a chance of glory last year. You can see that in this play. I know that sounds like clickbait, like Nick Wright sort of stuff. You can see it. Like they need somebody else on that.
But when I say that it's up to Lamar, he got sacked 6 times the other day. Those 6 sacks were not on Lamar. They were just coverage sacks. It was that the other teams are able to say, okay, we'll settle on these receivers. And I need to make the point to make the point. Derrick Henry has not been a threat. Out of your 32 starting running backs, based on PFF rankings, he is dead last. He just hasn't been performing well, but they're also over reliant on him in terms of all your running back. Like, we're so used to teams splitting their backfield now, but they're not doing it. He has 40 carries through the 3 games. Justice Hill, the number 2 behind him, has 5 carries. And I know some of that is because you have Lamar in the field who is able to run, so maybe it's like that's why you don't need it. And there is a disparity between the Colts and Jonathan Taylor and his number 2 and Saquon with Tank Bigsby too, but it's not to the same level. It's an over-reliance. And when Derrick Henry is on the field, just because he's not playing to that level right now, teams are able to be like, well, we can sit back. We know now to defend the wide receivers. Lamar is also probably looking for the hero ball. He's not wanting to use the leg. Like, he uses the legs, but just a fraction too late. So at that point, the defense is like, okay, we have everything sorted here. Let's target Lamar. Let's go after him. I think that's a struggle for them right now. It's like, that's why those coverage sacks can come. It's because right now, just with how Derrick Henry's playing and how the run game is as a whole, they don't have to respect it to the level that they did before to free up those wide receivers.
Who do you think is going to win the game? I'm going to say Chiefs edge it in a very, the Chiefs just find a way. They always do.
The last couple of podcasts, we were getting too aware that we were focusing on one team each, and then as a result, we were saying that team. So I kind of pushed back on that, and the 2 teams I focused on the last 2 weeks went and won. I think that the Chiefs are in a bit of a hole. I think Baltimore, for the reason you said, they still are putting up 40 burgers.
Who needs to win more? I think the Chiefs.
Whoa, good question. No, I think the Ravens need to win more just because the Chiefs have been here before.
And their division's insane. And the Broncos have lost a couple of games.
This is the thing. Raiders. This is the thing.
Okay, interesting.
The Chargers looking good, yeah.
Some interesting games they're on this week. Monday Night Football, I think Broncos, Bengals. There's a clinger, which we're not going to talk about on Sunday. I think it's the Titans against the Texans, if I'm correct. Sweet mother of mercy. Put that game in North Korea or something this week. I mean, if you're going to put a game in Ireland or South Korea, wherever you want. Can't wait till Belfast gets a game next year. One more game we're going to talk about this week is Rams Colts. And I done a podcast with Jeff Reinbold the other day. Shout out Jeff, Picks Podcast on Friday. Some very interesting picks this week. We're both picking the Colts. Spoiler alert. He talked about, he said, Michael, the Colts have had 2 incredible quarterbacks in their different era stations. Who are they? Peyton Manning.
He's compared Daniel Jones.
Wait for it. Peyton Manning and Johnny Unitas. And I was like,
okay.
And he starts comparing him to DJ. And I will say this. He is making me fall in love with the Colts again. The first NFL game I ever watched was the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning and the Colts in 2009, 2010-ish. And to me, the Colts, Indianapolis is a great, great city. We obviously are good comrades with McAfee and stuff. That's getting ridiculous, by the way. Just that's getting...
so many shout-outs this week. Good to see.
I
hope there's a few hups this week.
I obviously went out with Neil, and we were standing on the sideline at training camp, and he turned around to me, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, said, there's seconds where Richardson looks world class, and then he'll do something, throw it 40 yards, incredible catch, and and then he just falls flat. And Daniel Jones he didn't even stand out that much, but whenever we met him, he was the most like shy person ever. I'm so happy for him that he's had an opportunity to do this, but we all know what happens in the NFL. It's week 4. They're 3-0. Now, if they win this game against a Rams defense, I know they did not follow through last week against the Eagles, but a Rams defense that stopped Jalen Hurts, stopped the run for that first half, and showed people little crumbs of how you could potentially go after Philadelphia long term this season. If they can go into SoFi and win this game on Sunday, I believe it's in SoFi, my God, because they're playing some good football, man. They're a very enjoyable team to watch.
So you're after bringing up Philadelphia, and it's really actually, I hadn't thought about it from that point of view, but there is something that is a hangover, and it's Shane Steichen obviously comes from Philadelphia a couple of years ago. So I'm not going to say the offenses are obviously different, but Shane Steichen leaves a 2-year tenure as an offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles over those 2 years. Most rushing touchdowns, most rushing yards. It is, this hangover that's his offense helps your run game. When Daniel Jones is in there now at the moment, it is not a complex offense in terms of what's being asked of him, but it's one of those offenses that's definitely giving him the answers before he has to play the ball. So there is shorter passes, there's a lot of RPOs, but it's definitely taking advantage of something that I said I didn't know was going to happen before the year, with being able to get Jonathan Taylor back to the absolute beast that we knew him to be obviously a couple of years ago. So one of the things that I noticed that he's doing is Jonathan Taylor there is a threat, but the biggest hit in free agency could be the tight end Warren. He was a first-round pick, but his blocking is absolutely outrageous to the point where you must respect him, not just as a pass catcher, which he is, but as a blocker. So there was a play in week 2, 2 plays in week 2, where Warren is in the backfield, and on those 2 plays, he's a blocker both times. So the Broncos go and watch the film, and they, through their studies, say, okay, when Warren's in the backfield, that means it's going to be a run play. They run the same play back last week, and now they use some play action, fake it off obviously to Jonathan Taylor, and now Warren picks up 39 yards because he's down the field. They're doing it. Like, that's how you make a simple offense. You make the defense think you're doing one thing. Now, whether that gets caught up over the future week,
and we've seen that with Wink Martindale and the Giants over time 2 or 3 years ago. It does. There are teams where it can get caught up. But it brings that question.
But he just goes straight in the middle, and all of a sudden you have a tight end match up over a safety, and it's not going to work out for them. So it's like, that's why Daniel Jones, I'm not just saying it's just working out, the offense is really elite right now because they have the perfect players to make it work. And I haven't even mentioned Michael Pittman, but that was always going to happen when you have these 2 guys doing all that. The receiving yards is just going to be there.
We know how strong the Rams are as well. This is the makings of a great game. Is there anything else that's
but that's the thing, when you say, I suppose it's not an issue with anything that you've said. The issue that I have is the narrative that comes out of the Philadelphia Eagles getting a last-second blocked field goal puts back the Rams. It's like, don't get me wrong, they lost the game, and obviously they were 19 points up, and they lost it.
But
they're
offensively, they ran out of gas in the second half, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they're and it's like, and don't get me wrong, it's such a dumb point to say, would you rather run out at the end or just be poor at the start? At the end of the day, they went toe-to-toe with the Philadelphia Eagles, who look amazing.
In Philly. Champs.
Except for the blocked field goal at the end, which is they must have been 99.99% sure that they're going to win that game. It's like, we're resetting the narrative. Now, there is obviously some issues that, Davante Adams, maybe there's an overusage of him in the red zone right now just because he is the red zone target, and that's why they went after him, though. So it's like, I don't want us to completely get sidetracked. The LA Rams are definitely a Super Bowl contender. Are you still, by saying that, you're saying the Indianapolis Colts are a Super Bowl contender?
If the Colts win this week, you have to put them in the mix.
Yeah, and again, when you say that, it's like, if you want to have doubts, which I wouldn't have doubts over the Denver Broncos defense, maybe I will with weeks to come. They are really fantastic on paper and one of the best at the end of last year, and we are still early enough that we're going to use those stats. The LA Rams, phenomenal defense as well. If they can get it done against back-to-back opponents like that, you have to have belief.
It's time for us to go back into Dublin town and see the crack around the Dublin game. I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it. Virgin Media 1, Sunday, 1:30. Be there or be square. Be in the stadium. as
And
well.
again, keep soaking this week in. Like I almost want to talk about all the activation. Like you go into Dublin, there's a mural here, there's
a Pro
bunting
Football Ireland
there.
event there.
Yeah,
Neil Reynolds is apparently doing
like,
lovely dinners here.
Again, we have to thank the hotel for having us in. The view from the Croke Park Hotel, looking down onto the stadium, we can see them setting up the tents for the crowds to be going in. We have the bunting here on the lampposts.
They're using the car park.
This is what we always dreamed, and we, selfishly expected this to happen because we had such great pride in where we're from that we really thought all the stops people like. This is not just typical. This looks like a Super Bowl stadium, Mike. And I don't say that lightly. I really think
it has a feeling of it.
It's infiltrating every nook and cranny. And I know there's going to be roads, probably a couple of, whatever you want to call them, blocks away, I don't know, a couple of roads over that maybe don't have stuff. But it is to the level that people that, if you think that they haven't done enough here, go to the other amazing international cities and they don't have it looking. It looks amazing.
It's class. It's unreal.
Congrats to whoever it is, Dublin City Council, NFL, whoever it is that's involved, the Irish government, I don't know whoever's involved, because there's been some level of investment in this. And this isn't the podcast to talk about, but I've been asked about the 10 million that was given to the NFL.
It's worth every penny from what I've seen.
Croke Park isn't free. Dublin Castle, and we're all benefiting.
They've
you
put
and I
a
and
massive amount of money into it.
People are benefiting. It's like when the budget gets released, I don't benefit from a whole lot of things. 10 million divided by the 82,000 that are going, or the 76,000 that'll be there, and then everyone enjoying. My dad is going to pubs or whatever that have been bunting outside, and it all looks amazing. It's like that 10 million. I have no issue with. It's clearly been invested.
Obviously, folks, massive thanks to everyone supported over the last few years. We're only getting started. The NFL games are on from Virgin for London next week as well. More to come on that over the next few days. Mark, thank you very much. I'm sorry to Jason that he's not here, but he's here in spirit.
And this podcast
obviously sorry to Jason for Hoggy as well. That's why he's not here. He's devastated with Hoggy. So
he's at the wake for him. Of course, this is as the podcast here after. We've plenty coming out on social media. Yeah, it has not even been recorded or decided.
We haven't got a clue where we're at. I'm joking.
There'll be loads of interaction between us and you over the next few days, so keep an eye on the socials.
And if you see us, please say hello. Remember, just a reminder, of the offer with SBK. Check out all the information in the bio. 18+. Please be gamble aware. But again, a massive thanks to everybody involved at the Croke Park Hotel. We really appreciate it, folks. And folks, thanks for listening. Enjoy.
Is it fair to say that
game weekend?
Is it fair to say that potentially the last time you and I, or next time you and I record a podcast, we'll have had a Dublin regular season
100%.
game?
We're done. We're at the gap. On that note, thanks to everybody. God bless. Good luck.